This is 3.1. This is part 2. I want to graph 5x plus 6y is equal to negative 10 by finding my intercepts. So let's say x equals 0. If x is 0, I have 5 times 0 plus 6y is equal to negative 10. And that goes away. I need to divide both sides by a 6. So I get y is equal to negative 10 over 6 reduces to negative 5/3. So I have the point 0, negative 5/3. And like always, we need to try to get an approximation for this so we can graph this. So negative 5 divided by 3 is negative 1.7. So I have the point 0, negative 1.7, negative 1.7. Let's say it's about right there. Now let's say y equals 0. If y equals 0, I have 5x plus 6 times 0 is equal to negative 10. And this, of course, is gone. So I would divide both sides by 5 to get that x must equal negative 2. So I have the point negative 2, 0. Negative 2, 0 would be right there. And my graph is right here. Now, how can you plot this in MyMathLab? Okay, what you would do is just I would plot this point and then just draw a line, put a point somewhere in this general area. So it would draw the line like this. Then you click on that point. You should have the option at this point to type in your coordinate. So I would click on this point and then I would have the option of typing in 0, negative 5/3. It would snap this point to right here and you would have your graph. Okay, now let's look at this last problem. And this is kind of our special case. Now I said that most of the time you have 2 intercepts, but there are ways you can only have 1. Okay, if I had a vertical line, I'm going to cross the x-axis, but never the y. So I could have just 1 intercept that way. Similarly, if I had a horizontal line, I would have a y-intercept, but no x. Okay, we're going to be talking about those cases later. The other possibility is that your line goes through the origin. The origin is both an x-intercept and a y-intercept. So technically you have 2, they just happen to be the same point. You cannot draw a line with only 1 point. You must have a minimum of 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what happens if I plug in 0. If x equals 0, then I have 0 minus 3y is equal to 0. Of course, that goes away. Divide both sides by negative 3. And you get y is equal to 0. Okay, you can divide a 0 on the top, the 0 on the bottom is when you have an issue. So this is the point 0, 0, which is the origin. Now, if I went and I plugged in y equals 0, I should get x equals 0. So there's no reason to do the other part of intercepts. I'm going to get the same point. Now, what I need to do now is I need to pick any number and plug it in for either variable. Realistically, I want it to fit on my grid, so I'm not going to plug in x equals 100. And although it will work with either variable, if you have a variable with a coefficient and a variable without a coefficient, plug in here. You'll avoid fractions this way because eventually you're going to have to divide by this number if you still have the y. Whereas here you're going to have the 1 by itself and it's going to be easy. So let's just pick a random number. Let's say y is equal to 1. That will give me x minus 3 times 1 equal to 0, which is x minus 3 equals 0. So we add 3 to both sides, and we get that x equals 3. So another point will be 3, 1. Go to 3 on the x, 1 on the y, and it's here. Okay? So 2 points is enough for a line. I'm pretty sure that's correct. But if you want to check an extra, we can plug in any other number. Ones are easy to deal with, so let's try plugging in -1. That's probably the next easiest thing. So let's say y is -1 instead. Well, that would be x minus 3 times -1 equal to 0, which is x plus 3 equal to 0. Now let's subtract 3 from both sides to get x equals -3. So this would be the point -3, -1, -3 on the x, -1 on the y is right here. And as you can see, these 3 line up, and with 3 points that line up, I'm pretty sure that I have done this correctly.